Hey friends, it's Jill here with the Hometown Homestead, and today I am unloading my Azure Standard order for the month. But instead of telling you what all I got, I want to tell you some of my favorite things that I picked up from them over the last several months and some things that I absolutely will never buy again. And I'm sure some of you can add to that list. So if you have something that you really love or really don't love, drop it in the comments below because I would love to hear and try out some of your hits and make sure to avoid some of your misses. So if you're looking for my favorites and want to know some really good stuff to make sure to grab, make sure to hang out because this one is worth your time. So I'm going to start off today with a few of the things I love, but at the end, I'm also going to tell you some things that I wouldn't necessarily consider necessary, but I would consider an absolute luxury and love to have in my house, and you might feel the same way. So again, if you like this kind of content, like this video and share it with your friends because I really think that grocery budgets are something that are so important to a family and are going to continue to be at the forefront of our minds moving forward. So if you want to save some money and find out how to save about 30 to 35% on the majority of your bulk basic pantry ingredients, stay around because I'm about to show you what we're gonna do. So the obvious thing that I wanna start with are bulk pantry supplies. Now you can see this big bag behind me. I have two bags actually. One is black beans and the other is oats. And my family goes through a lot of oatmeal, and some of you might have seen our granola recipe, and if you haven't, I'll make sure to link that at the end. But we actually just made 4 batches of it this week for a big event that we had at church, and we really poured through some oats, so I was thankful to have this 25-pound bag coming in. The beans themselves, I did a little price breakdown for you just so you can see what the value is there. They are organic, and so I compared them to organic black beans that I could find online. I did compare them to canned because that's what I was buying before I started buying these in bulk. The best price I could find online for organic canned black beans was $1.16 per can, which was 3.5 servings per can. So I'm gonna compare this based on servings so you can see how it works out and why that's a huge savings. Now that bag itself back there contains 348 servings wet. Now, I did that conversion because I wanted to make sure we were comparing the same amounts. So that is 348 servings wet, and that is 3 cups of wet or cooked black bean per 1 cup of dry. So that's how that conversion works out. I actually found it first on New York Times. If you know me at all, you know it's super weird for me to quote the New York Times, and so I knew automatically I might want to do some research. But I did check it out with 3 other sites. And yes, the New York Times is right. 3 cups of dry beans or 3 cups of wet beans is going to turn into 1 cup of dry. So on that note, 348 servings, the cost of that bag was $42.76, meaning 100 servings, or it's 99.5, but 100 servings of beans are in that can. So this saved 37% for me by getting my beans dry. Now, if you like the convenience of a cooked bean, which I do too, you can can them yourself, one, or you can cook them up and freeze them if you don't have a canner. So that will really help you to save time. Otherwise, just plan ahead, use your Instapot and cook them up, or make the time to plan them, to prepare them normally. So either way, if you can save 37% on a bulk good right now, that is a really good thing to do and something to consider. I found this same savings to be true across all of the things that I get from them, whether it be flour, sugar, oats, rice, any of those basics. I myself actually make my own flour. I grind hard white wheat or hard red wheat or sometimes soft, but I grind my own. And even on the berries, I can find really good prices on berries online, but once you add in the shipping, it's really almost impossible to consider paying that much to get them delivered to your house. Now, some places do ship them for free, but it's after you've spent $100 or so you're in pretty deep before you get that savings. Even so, you're still saving a lot of money by grabbing them from Azure. I actually did a comparison online for organic flour, just an all-purpose, and you are saving 50% by grabbing that from Azure over the cost of having it shipped to your house from another supplier online. So that's worth doing, guys. It's worth the hassle of going to pick it up, and it's really not that big of a deal. If you haven't seen an Azure pickup, I'll link that video at the end as well, just so you can see the process and see how fast it is. This week, actually, when I got down there, they had already unloaded the entire truck, and I was 15 minutes early the way it was, but our driver showed up super early and a lot of people pitched in, so I just jumped out, got my stuff, and headed back home. So it worked out really nice. Next month, I'll be there a little bit earlier so I can make sure to do my part again, but I usually am there in plenty of time to help. Next thing that we absolutely love getting from Azure are organic apples. I have a whole box full back here, 20 pounds of pink ladies. And we also love their mandarins. We've got various other fruits and vegetables from them and been super happy with all of it. But these are really, really good, and the kids pick them up for snacks all the time. My first box that I got from them, 20 pounds, lasted the entire month. Nothing got bad first, and we really did absolutely enjoy every single one. The apples themselves are a huge savings over what you could get in a store. I priced Walmart because that's what's closest to me. Nothing's really close, but that's closest. And their Pink Lady Organics were $2.64 a pound, and I got mine for $1.85 a pound. So you can see that even comparing to the closest, cheapest option that I had available, I still save a whole lot of money by getting them here. If anything does get close to the end of its use, I love them dehydrated, and so do my kids. So we just slice them up, put them in the dehydrator, and keep them for a quick snack on the go, which, since it's baseball season, happens a lot. Other vegetables that we really love would be potatoes. We've had great luck with celery and their onions. So those are things that you can pick up and really, really benefit from. Now, on the onion front, some of you have probably done this forever, but for me, this is a relatively new thing. I used to just take an onion, and if I needed half of it for a recipe, I would cut up half, save the rest, put it in the refrigerator, and hope to remember it and pull it back out later to use it before it went bad. But it was probably not that long, maybe 6 months ago, I had this realization that perhaps I should just freeze the stinking onions. So I chopped them all up, froze the bag. Anytime I need diced onion, I pull out my bag that's already prepared and just toss it into a recipe. So not only am I not wasting any of my awesome organic onions that I purchased, but that's a huge head start on my meal prep when I'm trying to throw something together really fast. This works really awesome anytime you need diced onion, which at my house is quite often. My next must-have favorite that I get from them is butter. We get Mother's Choice from them, and it comes out to $3.53 a pound when you take the bulk option. I am able to put this in my freezer and pull it out as needed and not have to worry about what I'm gonna do for butter or the fact that it's $5 a pound at my local store. So not only am I saving almost $1.50 for every single box of butter, but I keep it on hand and I don't have to worry about running out. Now, in the future, I might look into some of their other options for butter that they have, but this is really delicious and it's worked out super well for us. And when we make our brioche bread, which my kids absolutely love, I make 4 loaves at a time and we go through a whole box of this. So it really is nice to be able to have that bulk supply and keep it done. Since we are saving so much money, it makes it a little easier on the budget to go with something that everybody really enjoys. In one of my recent videos, I showed you guys that I got some dishwasher soap, and it wasn't until recently that I ran out of my other favorite, which was Puracy, like the little pods. I do love the convenience of a pod, but this stuff has worked really, really well. I've actually been surprised with how well it's handled the plates that my kiddos throw in that dishwasher sometimes. So I went ahead and did a breakdown on the numbers just to see how much I was saving to make sure I wanted to go ahead and deal with the hassle of actually throwing a scoop in there and filling it up myself. They've changed the packaging a little bit since I got this and no longer offer it in something like this. It's in an 8-pound drain back bottle like laundry detergent would come in, and that has 145 loads in the package itself. Now that comes to $38, which is 26 cents a load. The Puracy that I was using was 40 cents a load. It was $20 for 50 loads. So my savings there is another 35%. So when I can knock off 35% off my dishwasher, 35% or more off of my beans and my oats and my flour and all of these ingredients that I'm able to grab, and they taste awesome and organic, it really is a no-brainer to me to go grocery shop one day a month and pick up what I need and bring it home. So those things are all hits. Oh, I forgot to mention the buckets. If you need food grade buckets and you like a plain white look instead of something labeled on the side or something, Azure's price is great, but their lid price is unbeatable. I typically get a 3-pack, but I just needed one. I always hope I'm on the end of needing more buckets, so I just grabbed one today, but their lids are awesome. Now, as for the misses, in my thumbnail, you saw me holding up this pasta sauce. I hoped I would love it because I like something quick and easy sometimes instead of making my own, but we just nobody wanted it. And my kids love spaghetti. This stuff didn't go anywhere. We will never be buying this organic tomato basil sauce again. And it's actually been sitting in my cabinet for a really long time. I really should go donate it to one of the food pantries up here and see if somebody else wants to grab it because it's just not getting any love around here. This stuff is a big fat no for us. If you love it, power to you. I wish we did. I really do because it would save me a lot of time. Another, I'm going to call this a miss, even though I've reordered this. This is honey. I'm calling this a miss only because pouring it up out of a gallon is not easy. The cost is great, but it's a mess. It's hard to use. And unless you go through a whole lot of honey, I would say it's worth investing in just the smaller packages. For us, I use it as a sugar substitute in a lot of our baking. Plus we use it on our breads that we make. We also use it on biscuits and English muffins. So we go through quite a bit of honey around here. So I did go ahead and buy a second gallon. Our first gallon lasted us exactly 2 months. With a family of 7 and a lot of baking going on, it's really easy to go through it. We probably could have went through it a little faster, but I started holding back at the end. So this for me goes in the miss/hit category. The honey itself is really good. It's raw clover honey, and the price was right, but the usability and the function of a gallon of something like this or the molasses is actually not probably worth it. I'd probably pay a little more for Bears or a squeeze bottle than going with this, unless you're just in the kitchen all the time like we are here. Another miss, which I don't have here to show you, but it goes along with those apples. One time, one of my friends and I loved our apples so much that we got the first time that we went in on a huge box. I think it was 40 pounds. And we got the juice grade or the grade 2 apples. What there is just the apples that don't meet their quality standard when they're pulling these out. So if something is smaller or misshapen or colored awkward or something, they will throw it in a box. And you never know what kind you're getting because it'll depend on the season. But the apples were just really ugly, really small. And the kids just, my little girls didn't even want to eat them just based on the look alone. And they were also a little more mealy. They would have been perfect for juicing. And we actually did throw a bunch of them in smoothies, but they were not great for fresh eating. So if you're looking at apples and you're thinking about getting those seconds or juice grade, don't get them for fresh eating. They did not go well. And they ended up in the dehydrator. And even then, they were still just not quite right. So those for us were a big miss. One more miss, I would say, which really turned out taste-wise fine, but I did not like the Azure Markets vanilla. It smelled a lot like alcohol. Now, I know this is common in some vanillas, and like I said, the flavor was still good, but for me, when I'm used to being able to get one without that, I really, really take that when I can. Not everything can be a hit, right? I mean, come on. Flavor was still good though, and I would definitely use it. It's just not something that I can't wait to reorder. Now, I mentioned earlier luxury. I'm telling you, when you're saving this much money on all of these bulk goods, you can afford some things that you wouldn't normally get. Cheese, the cheese that I got last month, my husband was even saying, he's like, where's the cheese? And I was like, it's okay, like I've got more coming. This cheddar, this is a raw milk cheddar cheese, and it's a white cheddar. It is absolutely fabulous. It's so good. My kids love it. My husband loves it. We slice it. We've shredded it. We've just had it with deer sausage, and it's been a really, really good snack. It runs around $30 for a 5-pound block. So it's not cheap, but like I said, when you have that savings coming in from elsewhere, it works out to be really, really effective. On the same line with a luxury, that Romano mozzarella cheese that I showed you last month, I literally can't tell you how good it was. It was drier than what I was getting from Sam's, so it shredded like a dream, and it went so much further than what I thought or what I was used to my Sam's block going. I actually shredded up a whole, because I got 2 blocks last time, so 10 pounds. I shredded up a whole 5-pound block the other day. I got 5-quart Ziploc baggies full plus 2 full pizzas that I made on Friday night, and I bagged them all up in the freezer. Now, I have them numbered, so when I'm pulling them out, I'll know how many are left to know when I need to reorder, but those cheeses were both so good. And not only that, the mileage that I'm able to get out of this mozzarella, because it's drier and doesn't have the same moisture content, is so much higher that even though a 5-pound block is double the price, I'm able to use close to half as much on every single pizza. So really price-wise, that one was a really, really, really awesome deal. Taste cannot be beaten. And like I said, when my husband come home and noticed all the blocks were cut up because I was planning to go get this and I froze what was left, he's like, where is the cheese? So anytime I can get him asking for something like this that is a little bit more on the luxury side is a win at our house. So tell me what you love. Make sure to put that below because I don't want to miss something that's extra awesome. And I do want to point out as well that I have a couple other new items back here behind me. I have the egg noodles down here. I also have, there you go, Italian seasoning, and I got some ginger that I use for our homemade pho recipe, which I've posted before as well. So I want to go ahead and see if I can plant those and grow some like I did my potatoes. I actually planted a huge, over 100 potatoes that I got from them earlier in the spring, and I'll put a little clip in here so you can see it. They are growing up beautifully. So I'm pretty soon going to have my own Azure potatoes. They're just like everybody's favorite. So I'm hoping that what comes out of my ground is just as good. So if you have any tips and you want to share some of your favorites or something I shouldn't buy, please leave it below. I would love to avoid some of the mistakes that other people have made along the way and make sure to get some things that are worth getting. If saving money on groceries and trying out new things is something that is interesting to you, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel because I would absolutely love to have more people around like you. Thank you for stopping by the Hometown Homestead. We'll see you back soon.